It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
What is going on, Lake of the Ozarks? I'm William Holtz alongside my good friend, Uncle Chris, and it is that time this week for your cup of coffee right here at Slumberland at the lake. And man, Chris, we've got an action-packed shows. Believe it or not, Andrew, he leads after week one of the NFL Pick'em. Yeah, he's going to wax the floor with us the whole season. Something tells me we'll do our week two picks, talk about the Chiefs' big week one win over the Browns, and some great local headlines. Bike Fest parking in the center lane has been solved. We'll catch you up on that. And then, of course, we celebrated 20 years since that fateful day in 2001.
Yeah.
And the lake had many events and tributes around the area, and we'll catch you up on some of those and a couple resignations or retirements to talk about. Not only Lake Regional CEO Dane Henry, but also just got word this morning that superintendent at the Camden School District has announced his retirement or resignation. And so both of those, good riddance. We're happy about those. PCP Got Talent finalists announced tickets on sale, and we're giving tickets away on today's show, and a huge donation from Springfield Armory to the Lake Ozark PD. So much to tell you about. But before we can do that, I gotta tell you how excited I am. We just ordered our new mattress, our adjustable base.
All right.
We got our sectional on the way, and those are just a few of the incredible things you can choose from right here at Slumberland at the lake. And speaking of them, we'll be right back after this.
No one has ever reinvented mattress shopping until now. The grand opening of Slumberland Sleep Solutions, where we've simplified, uncomplicated, and laid things out for you. Start with a quick rest match to pick your basic mattress type.
You love memory foam.
I really do.
Then shop the information and rating system on each bed. Did you know you can get great back support with a soft feel? It's true, and easy to find. Mattress shopping, reinvented, only at Slumberland Furniture.
Man, they just make it so easy when you come here to Slumberland. They help you find the right stuff. Daryl took good care of me, got me set up, and I'm so pumped. I also got one of those pillows, those memory foam pillows.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be way better for your neck. So I won't be getting as many headaches, and I won't hopefully be causing as many headaches.
I tell you what, there's been a lot of allergies or something in the air this fall, because, man, I've had a few headaches too, right?
I think it's common, that and bugs
Wow.
around for sure. So we're going to start, Chris, with local headlines this week. And we told you a little bit last week about the concern headed into this year's annual Bike Fest. The problems were not only would there be no open container, also be no parking on the center lane for bikes. And so that caused a big concern. An emergency session was called last Thursday at 2 o'clock by Mayor Newberry, and the board did vote unanimously to grant emergency permission for those bikes to park in the center lane. So although they were not able to lift the open container, I don't think that's near as big of a deal as the center lane parking.
You know, it's amazing to me how closely these people listen to us, because that was our exact suggestion last week.
Yeah, they had
on
to
a cup
have
of coffee.
listened to us, right?
That must have come from us, right? So they allow the parking, they keep the open containers within the buildings, which this year might be smart, right? Because it's been a weird year with the bikers and all that stuff. So good for them.
Yeah, and I will say, you know, with so much change over the last year from the CVB and with the new mayor and so many things going on, these things happen. And Mayor Newberry said that it would be on good, what's the word I'm looking for here? Good faith to the city and to the citizens to go ahead and allow this. And Heather Brown, she was at the meeting, the executive director for the CVB, and they're going to be responsible for the insurance policy, so they still have to secure that. Now, here's something that's new. They're also closing the strip to cars from 11 to 2 a.m. Wednesday through Saturday, and although they have done that on Friday and Saturday of Bike Fest, they've never done that long, so that'll be new.
And keep that in mind if you've got friends in town and you were thinking about going down to the strip. Closed to regular traffic, that was 11 until 2 a.m.?
Yeah,
so
11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
So
that's a long period. That's 13 hours right there that it'll be closed to cars, it'll be open to bikes, And then, of course, pedestrians. Now, you also have another hurdle, as we told you last week, that the Bagnell Dam and the bridge that goes over the top of that is closed, not just now, but for the next 2.5+ months, won't be done or open until December. So you've got a couple obstacles there. However, Chief Launderville, he did mention that, since the permits were not in and they did not plan on having parking, this now creates an obstacle for them because they're afraid about having adequate police force. However, there should be reinforcements from the meeting. Missouri State Highway Patrol will have extra deputies or extra patrol down here in the area. So hopefully all is well and they're able to get that taken care of. But I will say it is huge that there is going to be parking allowed in this center lane because that was going to create so many issues. You'd have so much fight back from people. And like I said, we could be in jeopardy of losing that event. Well, that is no more. So good work, not just by Mayor Newberry, our Board of Aldermen for the city of Lake Ozark, and everybody involved in making this happen because they really did pull off a Christmas miracle. And we'll keep the trend moving with positive stories. So it's clear that our local police departments and municipalities are not always the top funded, and that's true for the city of Lake Ozark, so much as that their current arm system that the deputies and patrolmen were using were 15 years old. So it's pretty cool. The headline reads from Lake Expo that Springfield Armory donates firearms and equipment to Lake Ozark Police Department, and this is spearheaded by CEO Dennis Reese and his wife Jane. Have long ties to the lake area and love the lake, and they've had business down here. They've grown up down here. They've raised their kids down here and spent a lot of their summers. So they love this area. When they found out that the police department in Lake Ozark needed help, they thought that it was only appropriate to step up. Chief Gary Launderville said that Dennis Reese reached out to him directly and said, what exactly do you guys need? And when Chief Launderville told him, he answered the call. And not just answered the call. Every police officer or deputy with the city of Lake Ozark is given a 9mm, not just any 9mm. This doesn't mean anything to me, and probably not to you.
Right, I don't know what it means.
To you gun people, it's the XDM Elite OSP, and with that, they're also giving them the Hex Dragonfly Red Dot optics, as well as the holster systems that can hold those guns with those optics, and that's pretty legit stuff. Like you're talking about infrared things, and so I mean that's pretty awesome. And so all deputies get that. And Chief Launderville stated that we just couldn't be any more thankful for Dennis and his wife Jane and Springfield Armory as a whole for making this possible, because this is a huge boost for the city of Lake Ozark's police department, because you talk about what kind of equipment you've got, and when it comes to something that you hope you never have to deal with, but they are much better equipped now than they were before, and that is thanks to Springfield Armory. That's such a nice donation.
And it provides the officers with the additional firepower should it be required in the duties, is the way they say it. And the Lake Ozark Chief of Police said our current firearms were nearly 15 years old, as you mentioned earlier, and in need of replacement, but we didn't have the budget to do it. So thank goodness, wonderful. I mean, we've seen with the growth of the community, crazier things happen. So it's nice that that the police department is well armed. That's good.
And with that, you've seen over the last year plus just an incredible amount of communities rallying together, and you've also seen some incredible donations, fundraising, and gifts given from people. So I'm telling you what a cool donation, and good for the city of Lake Ozark. So you remember this weekend, it was 9/11, which marked 20 years since September.
I don't think 11th. You were even born yet, right?
I was in 5th grade.
Wow.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was going to the bathroom on my way back to my 5th grade music class. That was the special class I had for the day. Either music, art, or you had PE, and it kind of rotated. Well, I had music that day, and I came back to the classroom, and Lydia Hess was my music teacher, and she was in the hallway sobbing. And I didn't know what was going on, but she took me back into the classroom and then explained to the class. At that point in time, they took us all to the auditorium, where they made a over the intercom announcement that everyone had to be in the intercom within a matter of minutes. And then once everybody got there, they announced what had happened, and they were sending everybody home early for the day, and they were getting all the buses ready. And then I got off the bus. Mom was just hysterical. Dad was home early from work, and he was rocked. And, you know, as 11, you didn't really understand how significant it was. But here 20 years later, I can say I've never experienced or encountered anything that has impacted me the way, and that I can remember that vividly as I do. And, you know, I, like a lot of people, I couldn't stop watching, you know, the documentaries, the tributes, the videos, and just crazy the price so many paid, you know, including 826 when the first building collapsed, and almost 600 of those were firefighters and police officers who ran to the storm to help others that lost their life. And so just incredible, not forgotten. And some of the incredible events around the lake that took place, it started out with the Run for the Fallen, 5K and 1 mile walk, and that's cool. Individuals get a bib number with the name of one of the individuals who lost their life on 9/11, and they either walk a mile or run a 5K in their honor. Really cool. I've done that before. I saw Tiffany, Mark Mawson were there. Just a lot of people were there, and Ricky, of course, was out there getting video. They also did a ribbon cutting out at the Camdenton Lake Regional Memorial Airport out there, so that was cool. They also, once it moved back to the west side with the parade at the Laurie Terrace Mall, out to the American Legion Post, the Zach Wheat Post in Sunrise Beach, they did a parade and a flyover. They had speakers. They did a flag ceremony. And it was just a special day, you know, to remember and honor and pay tribute to what took place 20 years ago. And I will say, when you watch those videos, Chris, one thing that stuck out to me is, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories and there's a lot of things said about President George Bush, but I will tell you, at that time in 2001, he was exactly what the country needed. He said what he needed to say, and when I watched the way he spoke, it was kind of inspiring, you know, how he addressed our nation at that point in time. And regardless of what you think of President George Bush, he was very presidential at that point in time. And that was the biggest event a president could face, right? The biggest catastrophic tragedy.
You know, it's interesting because you've got those, it doesn't happen very often. You got those generational things. Something so huge happens that everybody remembers exactly where they were. The generation before this, it was the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
Right? Where were you? What were you doing when you got the news? You know, and everybody remembers watching Walter Cronkite and, you know, and all that stuff. In 9/11 was the same thing for this more modern. Anybody old enough to remember does remember exactly what was going on when they were going through that whole thing. You know, and it's kind of weird, 20 years, and we keep saying, yeah, never forget, but there's been such a censorship, it seems, on that from different social media outlets censoring people trying to remember that or posting things to remember that. That's kind of sad that that's been happening, but I think the core of America will never forget that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, if we could go back to, I did see one post talked about the unity of everyone in this country on September 12th. You know, it didn't matter what political party you belonged to, it didn't matter what color, what gender, what sexual orientation. It really, none of those things mattered. What mattered was the red, white, and blue, and that we were one nation as Americans, and everyone was in solidarity over the course of those next few days and months. And then, of course, 20 years later, as we say, never forget, we're as divided as ever. But it was really some nice tributes locally, and just an opportunity, Chris, when you look at it, to reflect on, we really are lucky and blessed to live here, because regardless of what's going on around you, you know, if you don't turn on the TV, life is pretty darn good, you know.
Yeah, you just try to figure out, you know, where the line is, because the news is so crazy now.
Right.
That will drive you nuts if you keep watching the news and stuff like that, and yet you still kind of want to know what's going on, so you got to play that. It's kind of a hard razor's edge wire to walk.
I saw the funniest thing, and it said, do you want to know why the COVID has not even touched the Mennonite community? Because they haven't turned on the TV.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
I mean, and I thought that was pretty accurate and kind of wild. But all right, so next we've told you about it. We're so excited about it. Pumpkin Chunkin' Palooza, as well as Pumpkin Chunkin' Palooza Got Talent.
Yep.
Just a couple weeks away. Saturday, September 25th at the Ozarks Amphitheater. The Fall Festival, which is family-friendly, incredible event. Everything from trebuchet demonstrations, pumpkin pie eating contests. You've got jump houses. You've got funny farms with animals, with the petting zoo. You got face painting, tons of good food and vendors, and it's the largest family-friendly fall festival in the Midwest of the year. And it is Saturday, September 25th. Doors open at 10:30. Open at 10. It'll run to 4:30, and then there's a second event that evening at the Ozarks Amphitheater on the main stage. It's the first annual Got Talent event in conjunction with Pumpkin Chunkin' Palooza. Listen, our 10 finalists are set, and they are scary good. Chris, I was putting together their footprints over the last couple of nights, which is how much space they need on stage for the live production, and just unreal selection. You're going to want to be there, and if you pay $20 to come in and get a ticket that night, the gates open at 6, the performances start at 7, and it's basically America's Got Talent right here in the Midwest at Lake of the Ozarks, and all 10 acts are going to perform one time, and then you're going to decide as the voting audience of those 10 who deserves to make it to the final 5.
Not us. Not
us. You.
That's right.
And then after that, those 5 will come back out. They'll perform an additional act. And of those 5, again, you will decide who's the first annual Pumpkin Chunkin' Palooza's Got Talent champion, as well as a winner of $5,000 cash. Of course, all this possible thanks to our good friends and sponsors at Above and Beyond Roofing. They're not only the title sponsor of the festival, then we were able to go to Ben and Melissa and say, hey, so we got an idea for another event. We need money. And they said, yes, we love it. Let's do it. So big shout out to Above and Beyond Roofing. And I'm telling you what, guys, it's going to be an incredible event. We're so excited. We want you to be there. Uncle Chris decided he was going to pony up. He bought 10 tickets, and we're giving those away. So the first 5 people that message our Facebook page and say, I claim a pair of tickets to the PCP Got Talent, $40 value. We're going to mail those to you, or we'll put those up front. You got to be one of the first 5, and I'm thanking my good buddy Uncle Chris for that. He's the man, the myth, the legend, and he'll be judging that night. And when I say judging, really guest commentating.
Yeah.
He'll be like Simon Cowell out there. People will be throwing tomatoes at him because they don't
what are you doing on stage? Get off the stage, right? Hey.
No. So we're going to have Chris. He'll be joined by Mary Kay Von Brindle, as well as Kevin Burns, our very own KB, right here from What's Burning. And Chris, you just see Missouri's Best named the best new local TV or radio show, What's Burning, with Kevin KB Burns.
How about that?
Just about 3 months in, and named the top new show in the state of Missouri. So, man, we're glad to have that guy
Well,
on the
and I
team.
think you were named the best local TV personality in the
I
state,
think they just
right?
grandfather you in.
Wow, how about that?
I just think they grandfather you in. After you've won it a few times, they don't let anybody else vote, and they say, we're just going to let this guy win so he didn't go home and cry. But, yeah, I was honored. That's 6 years in a row, and the Missouri Red Carpet event coming up in April is always a blast. We'll tell you more about that in the new year. All right, so our last local story, effective January 3rd, 2022, CEO Dane Henry has announced his resignation.
Yeah, interesting. And this comes on the heels of the big hubbub the last couple of months, and we've been right in the middle of it. Lake Regional Hospital put out that letter to the public.
Yeah.
They'd had 22 COVID deaths in 23 days. People in the community were like, what the hell's going on over there?
Right.
And so they put out the letter saying, sometimes we just have to comfort them until they die, but we will not use, ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. We made a big deal out of that. There was a big spotlight. I don't know if that has anything to do with the resignation, but it is interesting. The timing of it is fairly interesting. And so now I think the focus will need to be on who's doing the hiring of the next CEO? What does the community want for the next CEO of Lake Regional? Is there a way to upgrade this? Because, let's be honest, Lake Regional does not have a very good, in the community, a very good profile. I was talking with a cancer patient yesterday, and she said, I did not go to Lake Regional. I went to Columbia. And there was a reason for that. Hopefully we can change that where the local community wants to go to Lake Regional, trusts Lake Regional, and a lot will have to do with the hiring of this next CEO.
Well, and we don't want the community to make a decision like who do you hire for CEO of something as important as Lake Regional, but I do agree that, you know, the people that make this hiring, I believe the board of directors, it would be important that they're diligent in this suit, because everyone really loved Dane Henry in the early going, and he did a lot to change the billing department. He also did a lot to deal with the PR in the community. In the first few years, he was off to an incredible start. Now, COVID hit, and he was involved in a lot of controversy, and he did not like some of the media coverage, and I think that's par for the course when you're in that position. You have a national pandemic, or a global pandemic, as they're calling it, such as COVID. So, however, he does have a job lined up. He is going to be the CEO of Partners Corporation in Atlanta, which is where his previous employment was at, which is kind of interesting. He was hired with Lake Regional in September of 2017, and Jennifer Bethurum, who is the Senior Vice President of PR and Marketing with Lake Regional, says they will open a nationwide search once his resignation takes effect, which again is January 3rd, 2022. So they'll start that search now, hoping to find his predecessor.
Yeah, and it'll be the board of directors, I think, the hospital board of directors that will conduct the search and make the decision. My thinking is the community needs to keep an eye on this, and that whoever the board of directors decide to hire, the community is behind it. Because we want the community to be behind the hospital, and the hospital to be behind the community, and, you know, have a love fest there, because that's the way it works.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about that. And you know, all you would have needed to do was a little research if you looked at their last hire and looked into his previous employment. You know, maybe some questions there about was he the right guy based on his
some big questions.
His history.
Yeah.
And so this time around, hopefully the community is involved, and that includes us. As soon as that hire is made, you know, we'll be Johnny on the spot, knocking on their door, probably getting kicked off property, and God only knows.
Maybe.
But
hopefully not.
So a couple of resignations, and another one that we got word is, and we can't spend too much time here, but Tim Hadfield, the longtime superintendent of the Camdenton School District, in his 15th year, has announced his either retirement or resignation. Looks like retirement following the end of this school year. So I know that the school district is doing some great things, but I also know there's a lot of people that will rejoice at that news. Yeah,
well, and there was a lot of controversy during the last election for school board, and I think the superintendent had, you know, his name kept coming up. There's some money problems, there's some debt problems, there were a lot of issues that came up.
Chris, his last 5 years at Camdenton have been riddled by controversy and news headlines and questionable decisions. So I think it'd probably be a good time. At some point in time, you just love for somebody in a position like that to realize maybe it's time for me to go. And I think that's the time. And so I know with the new school board and the direction they see this district going, there's so much positive to build off. So 2 CEO essentially positions will be filled, because that's essentially what the superintendent is the CEO. So we'll be following Lake Regional and Camdenton School District, 2 of the largest players in our communities.
And that's our job as your TV voice, is to put a spotlight on that, hopefully be able to show you what's going on and stuff like that, and hopefully we can do that over the next year or 2 while that's all happening, just so that you know what's happening.
And continue to ask questions and have conversations. So sports, listen, high school sports, especially here locally with football, are off to an outstanding start. First, you got to talk about the Camdenton Lakers, because we're talking about their superintendent. Now, let's deflect the attention to something more positive. How about the football program, baby? Under Jeff Shore, continuing to be in the spotlight. 3-0, and they got a huge matchup with West Plains this Friday, so that'll be a big one. Also, Osage, they fall to Eldon in an absolute thriller.
What a great game.
Friday night, 54-48, that one in overtime. Eldon wins. It was Bryce Veach, 6 touchdowns, his first start for the Mustangs ever. Big game, he wins it in overtime. And we'll actually have California, who's 2-1. They're going to come in and play Osage Friday, and that'll be our Lake TV game of the week. Of course, our pregame show, COMC pregame show, starts at 6:30. 30, so that's pretty exciting.
And keep in mind, you can see a replay on Friday night if you go to the game, or for some reason Friday night you can't see the game live on Lake TV. We do a replay of it the next Tuesday night at 7:30 and the next Thursday night at midnight. So there's different ways for you to see that, or YouTube, yeah.
Perfect. So you look at the Chiefs and the Browns. Was the Chiefs opener?
That was another good game.
What a game. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but I mean, it was early on. It was the half. It was 22-10. Nick Chubb, a couple of touchdown runs. Mahomes had the lone touchdown. Then it was all Chiefs in the second half, essentially. Kelsey with a couple of touchdowns, including the game winner, the big muff punt by the Browns late in the game when the score was 29-27 after that circus touchdown to Tyreek Hill.
The game, that muff punt. Yeah.
So, and then, of course, Kareem Hunt, he had a solid game for the Browns. They led 29-20 after his touchdown. Then it was that crazy 75-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill, the muff punt. Kelsey had the touchdown. And then, of course, Mike Hughes with the interception sealed the deal 33-29. But I'm going to tell you, Chris, don't sleep on Cleveland and Baker Mayfield. I did not realize he had made 48 consecutive regular season starts, which means since he got drafted, he's never missed a start. Except for that opener where Tyrod Taylor was the starter on Sunday Night Football. Do you remember? He got injured in the first quarter. Baker never looked back, and he started 48 consecutive games.
That Cleveland team's for real. They should have won that game Sunday. The Chiefs kind of got lucky, and they're just so super talented that they
kind of got lucky.
Score a bomb touchdown in 10 seconds.
Kind of got lucky. Good teams find a way to win.
I picked the Chiefs to win this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose this week.
Oh, Uncle Chris coming out there.
Of course, I suck at picking the NFL.
He is currently dead last in 5th place. He went a lovely 8-8.
I'm even behind Megan.
I'm tied with Megan. You went 8-8. I went 10-6. Megan went 10-6. Ricky, he went 11-5. Andrew goes 12-4 for the week. Just phenomenal. Andrew also went 11-5 with Ricky. He has one more point than Ricky, or they might be dead tied.
Maybe so.
I think actually Ricky and Andrew are tied 11-5, both 12 points.
I just want to say I lost 2 overtime games. So if I'd have won those 2 games.
Here we go. Get lucky. Should have won the overtime games.
There we go.
Oh, boy. Uncle Chris, it's going to be a long season. Listen to all these excuses. All I know is I'm not in first. He's in last. And Andrew and Ricky, I believe, are tied for first. And Megan's right there. We're going to say Megan and I tied for second. Oh. This guy's in 3rd place all by himself. All right, so real quick, we got to pick them. All right, Giants in Washington. I got Giants.
I got Washington.
Very good. New Orleans and Carolina.
Let's see here. I think I was
Saints or the Panthers.
I got the Saints.
I also got the Saints. I got the Bengals over the Bears.
Let's see. I got the Bears. Man, we got a lot of different picks this week.
So far we've got 2 different, which I love. Houston at Cleveland. I got the Browns.
I got the Browns.
Rams at Indy. I got the Rams.
I got the Rams.
Denver at Jacksonville.
Let's see here. Where I got the Broncos.
Very good. I also got the Broncos. For the Bills in Miami, I got the Bills as my money pick.
I got the Bills. Boy, didn't they suck last week?
Yes, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Patriots at the Jets. I got the Patriots.
I got the Patriots, too.
San Fran at Philly. I got the Eagles.
I got the, where's my San Fran? I think I took the Eagles, too.
No, you got Niners.
Oh, I got the Niners.
You got the Niners. So there's one that's separate. Las Vegas at Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
I got Steelers as well. Vikings or Cardinals.
I got the Cardinals.
I do too. Falcons and the Bucks.
I got the Bucks.
As do I. How about the Cowboys and the Chargers?
Ooh, I got the Chargers, but I
do have the Chargers too.
Wow.
That's going to be an upset pick because everyone else in America is picking the Cowboys. Wow. So we both got the Chargers.
There you go, baby.
Titans at the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Me too. And the Chiefs at Baltimore.
I took the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens don't win that.
Ravens lost the Raiders. Come on, Chiefs blow out the Ravens. And then Detroit at Green Bay.
I think, didn't Green Bay suck last week? Wow.
They did.
I'm pretty sure I took Green Bay, although I can't find it on here. So I need to put these in order.
I don't think you have the Monday night game on there. So who would you take, Lions or the Packers?
I'll take the Packers.
Packers, I do as well. So we only had 3 games different this week. We'll see what happens. And we're going to skip our funny story of the week. I got to save it for you next week because you're going to have to let your stomach recover from last week. That was such a gut buster. I'm going to give you a little break before I bring you another one this week. So some awesome stuff coming up. Of course, we told you it's Bike Fest, friends. Be safe and have a blast. Be nice to bikers. They'll be nice to you. We certainly hope so. 3 Dog Night at the Ozarks Amphitheater on the 17th. Still are, from what I hear, and they'll be at the amphitheater on the 17th, ozarksamp.com. And then listen, Monday's the Chances Are golf tournament. If you guys want to come, you can show up to Indian Rock and Lori, breakfast and sign up 8:30 to 10. We'll be rocking from 10 to about 2:33, then headed back to Chances for all the fun stuff. Andrew and I will see you there. For Jill Ray and our incredible crew from Slumberland Furniture, this is Uncle Chris. I'm Wild Will, and we'll see you guys next week.